Hello everyone, and this is Swibs with another episode of Dwarf Fortress, and so can you. Last episode we looked at the basic controls of Dwarf Fortress and how Z levels work. This episode we're going to get into designations and buildings. So to start, we're going to set some dwarfs. D for designations, to mine. D, dig. We're going to dig. Generally, it's a good idea to have a chokehold. This chokehold here looks fairly good. Looks fairly good. We've got the chokehold is so when the goblins come and attack, they're forced into a small area where hopefully your archers, traps, or whatever can protect you from all these baddies. So we're going to hit resume. Well, not yet. It's good to keep the game paused as much as you can because time does pass very quickly, and you don't want all your dwarves drinking all your alcohol before it's done. Before anything gets done. So you've got your two dwarves, and they're set out to mine this area here. This is going to be the first hallway in your fortress. Generally, a 3x hallway is good to have because caravans can fit down there, so a caravan can come in through your defenses and sit down in safety, so you can trade effectively. Next, we're going to cut down some trees. Trees are extremely useful for pretty much everything. You can only make beds out of trees. You can only make beds out of wood, and so as you could imagine, it is good to have many beds in a fortress. So we have chopped down trees. Next, T for trees, and as you can see how I did that is you can either designate by clicking. Let's find another tree here. Again, using shift and arrow key to move quickly. T for trees, you can either click or you can get the cursor to flash and move the cursor. And then it selects everything in the box, and that does work across multiple Z layers, which I'll soon show you with staircases. While Urusmic Wood Chopper is chopping down trees, we're also going to set gather P for gather plants. We might as well, because Urusmic Farmer isn't going to be doing much until he gets his farm plots set up. So we're going to set those dwarfs to do it. If for some reason or your dwarfs aren't doing anything because you haven't followed these instructions or something's wrong, you can always go into a dwarf by going to V for view units. V for view units, going close to a dwarf that you think should be doing something, and checking his labor preferences by going P for preferences. G is for general, it shows his skills. I is for inventory, shows what he has. It's quite detailed. P is for preferences. You go into L for labors, and you can see all these labors he has. This menu is navigated by the plus and minus keys. So if a dwarf isn't mining, make sure he has the mining labor enabled, which is shown with the white. In between dark gray and white, or this light gray, it shows that there's partial labors enabled. However, with the settings we have, we shouldn't have that issue. So these dwarfs here dug out this cavern. Next, we're going to build a farm. So to build a farm, we want you will always want a farm either outside, where you have to irrigate it, which is a little bit complex, so we're going to stick to simple things for now. Or you build a farm plot inside on clay loam, which if you go K to look, you can see the clay loam here, sandy loam cavern floor, and that's also why clay is quite useful. So we're going to dig out a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 10 section, and that should do for most of our farming needs. Make sure you actually dig out the walls that it's connected to. So Urusmic Wood Chopper is going to go down here, chop down some wood, as well as Urusmic Farmer. If you're wondering what the blinking moving tiles are, that is a swarm of flies. There's also a colony of ants. Here, it's just good to look around and get a good idea of where you are. And it looks like we've got some visitors over there. Not sure exactly what to do, but that could be problematic in the future. Sometimes the miners will go to random tiles, make sure everything's dug. If you're tired of waiting, you have to make sure everything's finished digging out. So usually when you're assigning things, make sure to keep things paused by pressing the spacebar. Right now, next we're going to build, now that this area is dug out, we're going to build farm plots. We're going to do this by going B for build, B for build, and we're going to go into P for farm plots. This is a very long menu. This one is navigated also by the plus and minus ones. Most submenus are. We're going to go find a farm plot here. Farm plot, P. These farm plots are located using the arrow keys, and UM, K, and H changes their sizes. So we're going to build a 3x10 farm plot here, and we're going to get the farmers to go to work. Oh, it looks like 3x9 is the maximum size. That's okay. And we're going to build a second plot as well. We should have plenty of food for when anything happens. So now the two farmers are going to go get to work on that. Next, we're going to build, while the farmers are getting to work on that, we're going to dig out a place for workshops. I'm going to dig out a 6x7 workshop area, or a 6x6 area. So we're going to dig 1, 2, 3, or two 3x6 areas. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to dig out that 6x6 area. And we're going to have 2 entrances. Again, X is to remove designations, and we're just digging out hollows for our dwarves to work in. And so our miners should get to work on that very quickly. Now again, it's important, I forgot earlier, it's important to designate what you have in your farm plots. We'll get to that after the farmers have completed their farm plots. So I know it's difficult to see here, but you can see, because it's this black sand doesn't show up very well on the tile set, but you can see that's a wall and that's a floor. It doesn't show up very well, but we're just going to have to make do, and you can just pretend it's all dug out. Anyway, so we're going to go now to buildings, and we're going to go to workshop, which is something, if you ever can't find anything, you can always just kind of look through here. It goes down and down and down, and I think, yeah, the minus and plus goes to, the times and multiples go up by 10 increments. Yeah, the division and multiplication symbols on your numpad will go up by 10 increments for the much larger menus that you get into later game. But we're going to go to W for workshop, and this opens another sub-menu where you can have all this. We're going to build a carpenter's workshop first, where we can make beds. We're going to build 2 of those. We're going to build 1 here. The shaded green X's represent where there'll be something physically blocking, and the lighter green X's will be where passage is free. So we're going to build 1 here. We're going to use the closest logs. These are the building materials on the map that are able to be used, and they're always sorted by distance. None of these have a very high difference in value, so we're going to use the one that's closest. Here shows the amount that exists. So we're just going to hit enter, and again we're going to build a second carpenter's workshop here using birch logs. Next, we're going to build a mason's workshop. Whenever you build something, it brings you back to the most recent submenu. So we're going to build a mason's workshop here, mason's workshop M, and we're going to place it here. Again, all placing is done by the arrow keys. All placement here is done by the arrow keys. We're going to hit escape twice and go back to the main menu, where we're going to resume. Now you can see Generally, later in the game, it's a challenge to keep this number as low as possible, and that means your fortress is most productive. We're gonna pause the game now, and we're gonna go into queue, set buildings, tasks, and preferences, where you can set certain buildings to do certain things. We're gonna go into the farms, and we're gonna see these are the seasons. Right now it's spring. Your season is displayed. I'm not sure where it's displayed, but it tells you every time the season changes. Right now we're in spring though, because it's the start of the embark, and you have summer, autumn, and winter, A, B, C, and D. And we're going to go to spring, and we're going to plant in this field plump helmets all across the year. A, we're going to plant pump helmets. B, we're going to plant pump helmets. C, and D. Pump helmets are a great source of food and alcohol for your dwarfs. There's the all-around power crop. In this one, we're going to plant sweet pods in the spring, just for variety. Cave wheat in the summer. Cave wheat in the autumn. And dimple cups in the winter. This makes it gives a good variety for your dwarves. Our miners again aren't doing anything, so we're going to set them out to build a dormitory hall. This is where your dwarves are going to sleep. It's good to remove it from busy areas, as they complain about sleeping. I like to make their bedrooms 3x3. It's plenty of space and keeps your dwarves happy. So as you can see, we're going to make 7 3x3 rooms. You can hear me tapping at the keyboard right now. I'm going to make 7 3x3 rooms. We're going to need more once more migrants arrive. Again, it's D for designation and D for dig. Every time you place the dig, every time you dig, it still stays on the same designation. I don't have to reselect it. So these rooms are going to be dug out for our doors, and we're going to resume, and we're going to have our miners set to work on that. Next, we're probably going to build a storeroom. I think all of these, yes, these are just currently being built by their various professions. Right now we have Idlers 1, which is very good. We don't have any stone yet, but we will get some stone. Okay, we're going to build a small storeroom at near the front of our fortress. We have, yes, that's the building component. I think that's all for this episode. I think we've covered a lot, and we'll come back to you in episode 4 with more.